Hello there, congregants. I'm Dr. Jordan, and no joke, I'm legally an ordained minister. Seriously, I could do your wedding if you want. I mean, no pressure, but I'm free in September. And anyway, you're watching another fully sanctified episode of Your Brain on Crack, the show guaranteed to buff your holiness stats by at least 10%, and the only show on crack that was immaculately conceived, just like our Lord and Savior.
I don't like sand.
Today, I bless you with... There are a lot of Christian movies floating around out there in this sinful world, and I usually wouldn't recommend watching them because they're boring at best and downright offensive at worst.
Do you believe in the death penalty?
Oh, yes.
But every once in a while, a beautiful film comes along that truly affects the way I view the world and what it means to be a human. I'm of course talking about Quigley, the movie starring Gary Busey as a fabulously wealthy video game designer who dies and is sent back to Earth as a Pomeranian to make video games worse. Quigley's opening credits play over Microsoft Paint drawings of a dog in random locations and an extremely 90s original rock song by a guy named Molly B, who claims to be both a vocal coach for Ariana Grande and a Grammy Award-winning songwriter. But even as hard as his opening song slaps, I'm gonna guess those things came much later.
My rules, my way, don't care what you say.
After this intro sequence that probably cost 75% of the film's budget, we dive straight into the action as Gary Busey immediately bum rushes a random poodle sitting on the side of the road, and the only reason he fails to tear its limbs off is because smash zoom! The dog left a mound of crap in its wake, like a James Bond Aston Martin oil slick. And this brief interaction is the movie's only explanation for why Busey hates dogs, because they run away and poop themselves when he tries to murder them in the street, I guess.
I want everyone that owns a dog executed.
Also, according to one of the title cards, Quigley is based on an idea from a guy named Hank Hiller, and old Hank was very careful to claim no responsibility for the end result.
Look, I just got high one day and said it would be cool if we all came back to life as Pomeranians when we died, but I didn't think they'd make a movie out of it. I mean, it was just an idea. God, forgive me.
You are what you are, a miserable human being.
But yeah, so Busey, still presumably covered in dog droppings, spends his last few hours on Earth talking about a virtual reality CD-ROM he intends to play at a stockholders meeting that explains how he's gonna cut everybody's pay. And honestly, that would be a pretty baller power move for an evil video game designer, but it's tempered a little bit by Busey feeling like he has to hide the CD-ROM like it was a middle school diary.
No.
But whatever. 5 seconds later, Busey sees a Pomeranian on the road and crashes his car at a devastating 11 miles per hour. Busey dies and then discovers that heaven is apparently just a single couch plopped in the middle of a mini-golf fairway downwind from a forest fire.
That was cool.
It's important to note that the real Gary Busey originally straight up refused to shoot any Quigley Heaven sequences until producers rearranged the set to make it match what heaven actually looks like. See, in 1988, Busey was in a horrific motorcycle accident that left him mostly dead and allegedly sent him on a brief excursion to the hereafter. And you better believe the real heaven doesn't look anything like whatever cheap crap the Quigley set designer threw together.
They just made a mistake. That's okay. Everyone makes mistakes.
According to Busey, the sofa was all wrong, and the mirrors had to go because they don't even have mirrors in heaven, and don't even get Busey started on how angels are less like humans and more like big balls of light that float and carry nothing but love and warmth. Heavenly decor was so important to Busey, he almost got into a fist fight with another Quigley actor who'd apparently also had a near-death experience and also visited an entirely different version of heaven. Was the entire cast of Quigley dead instead of Quigley itself purgatory or something? Actually, kind of. We'll come back to it.
Oh, I don't think they'd approve of your hurried attitude.
But so anyway, Busey clearly didn't get everything he wanted because a few entirely fake and incredibly unrealistic human-looking angels tell him that he's too much of a butthead to go through the pearly gates. Busey is instead blasted back to Earth where everybody sees him as a Pomeranian except for his guardian angel, who's played by Oz Perkins, the guy that directed Gretel and Hansel, because he sees Gary Busey as a normal sex scamp.
Don't you feel some remorse or something?
Sweeney's not allowed to explain anything, nor lift a finger to assist, otherwise God will see him and thunder at him. He doesn't seem to be so used to Earth's gravity, and we quickly learn why Oz Perkins has a stunt double. But it's not like he's that effective anyway, because Sweeney clearly spends most of his free time choosing new outfits. Busey correctly deduces that whatever his task is, it probably has to do with his old company and destroying that old CD that he made. So he goes and he sleeps in the janitor closet to both hide and to confront his own rampant sexism. Busey blurts out that he hates women because they're like dogs, but he's swiftly corrected by Sweeney, who explains actually women are the best, because...
What do fire escapes, bulletproof vests, windshield wipers, and laser printers have in common?
That's a trick question.
Nope. All of those things I just named were invented by women.
No, they weren't.
Now firmly put in his place, Busey engages in a battle of wits with a janitor named Frank, who is almost certainly a Nazi.
What goes around is coming around.
At the same time, Busey also goes toe-to-toe with two moronic security guards, one of whom is played by Patrick Starr. While all this goes down, Busey's second-in-command, Dexter, is quickly losing his freaking mind. You may recognize the actor who plays Dexter as the principal in New Girl, because this whole movie is a who's who of D-list celebrities. And Dexter's having the absolute worst 35th birthday ever, made worse by the fact that the actor is clearly like 55.
This is not a good way for me to celebrate my 35th birthday, Sarah.
He can't find the dang virtual reality CD-ROM, and Busey apparently never bothered to write down his plan to cut everybody's benefits. And Dexter doesn't have time to be dealing with lost CDs and loose dogs either, because he's working on a very important project with his female coworker who definitely knows where dog bones aren't.
There are no dog bones in here, trust me on that one.
They're trying to get their new controller with dual pads and triple joysticks into every home in America. Yeah, triple joysticks. It may sound stupid, but...
You know, when you have to drop one joystick and just as quickly pick the other one up again, I mean, you can't help but become completely obsessed with this game.
I mean, how could you not?
There are flaws in the system, Sarah.
But thanks to everyone's overwhelming incompetence, Busey the dog gets in there and destroys the virtual reality CD-ROM in such a way that I have to assume Quigley is magic, and every single employee's pension plans or whatever are saved. First task accomplished. Second task, reunite with his estranged brother who lives just far enough away that we can kill 15 minutes of runtime getting there. Writer-director William Byron Hillman has clearly seen other movies and knows that all the best ones are exactly 90 minutes. Unfortunately, he'd only written about 75 minutes worth of material, so he needed to go back and pad the film out with the middle section where an animal control worker captures Quigley for like 7 seconds because he's immediately thwarted by Sweeney spitting in the face of literal God and whistling as a distraction.
How does an observing guardian angel stage a dog pound break?
On to Brother Woodward's house. Busey introduces himself to his estranged brother's family by knocking his simpleton niece out of the way of a speeding truck and then just licking that tween face raw. The director wisely chose to keep Busey as a Pomeranian for this scene, as watching a human Busey slobber all over that underage girl would automatically give Quigley a hard NC-17. Busey does lick her face so good, she brings him home and asks her dad to sleep with her new dog friend. The dad says no because he's a stranger, and once again, Quigley dodges an international ban by leaving the scene of Busey snuggled up with an 11-year-old on the cutting room floor.
Who thought of that?
I did.
High five.
Busey's brother, who may or may not be Stephen King's cousin, works for a messenger service, but that's just so he can pay the bills until his video game career takes off. Because just like Busey, Woodward designs video games, but unlike Busey and his Italian Doom ripoff Mondo Valencio, later described by the nieces, Woodward makes video games that even kids' parents would approve of.
She's right. It's all garbage.
But as a parent myself, I'm pretty certain I wouldn't approve of my kids playing Woodward's game, which appears to be nothing more than cartoon forest animals literally skipping rocks on a static painting of a lake.
Lift up, lift up, lift up.
Brief side note, Quigley is apparently sponsored by Hawaiian Punch. Also, we're sponsored by NordVPN. At some point, the niece forces her brother to never tell their parents that she's sneaking out to check on missing dog signs they put up for Quigley. I don't know why they wouldn't want to know, but she somehow gets lost because she's the kind of kid that dribbles rubber balls in the middle of the street, but it's all good because Busey saves her again and presumably gets a few more good licks in before taking her back to daddy.
Thank you.
And then Busey finds a way to rehire his brother at his company, and Busey returns to heaven to receive his divine reward, which if he gets his way is probably just a flood of endlessly licking gimps. Otherwise, you know, what's the point of it all? But okay, so here's the thing. As some of my more devout viewers may have noticed, nothing about Quigley's theology is very Christian. Quigley to this point has been all about earning your way into heaven, which, despite what your middle school Baptist youth leader may have screamed in your face, is literally the exact opposite point of mainstream Christianity. And so at the very last second, despite succeeding with all of his tasks, Quigley course corrects hard.
You cannot earn your way into heaven by doing good deeds, Archie. The only way into heaven is by faith, and faith alone.
Plot twist, human Busey wakes up in the hospital and realizes this whole dumb movie has actually been a whole dumb dream. Busey has virtually zero injuries, and he was never in any danger at all. It was just one big nap with an extremely detailed what-if scenario where Busey accurately guesses what his niece tastes like. Busey is a changed man in real life, though, and decides to hire his brother for real, thereby ending Woodward's financial struggles and thankfully also ending my spiritual struggles to finish watching this dumpster fire.
I failed.
Over the credits, we're treated to both an original song about banging a dog as well as individual video montage credits for every single character. I'm looking at you, Gail Harris. I mean, wow. Remember all the times we had? So yeah, that's it. Just go watch the movie for free if you have Amazon Prime, or pay money for it, I don't care. Maybe stop by Kathy's desk on your way out and grab some Advil for your inevitable headache, and maybe grab a Bible too, because you're gonna need it. Or you might go to hell.
Woody, good to be with you again.
People have been asking how you actually use NordVPN to access other parts of Netflix, like Japan or UK or a country that's not yours. I'm going to show you, and I want to show you on my actual computer, not like a screen share thing. So you can see it's super easy. My wife and I just finished season 3 of The Sinner, but if you look, there's only 2 seasons on America. So what I do, I quit Chrome, I open NordVPN, I decide to go to, I'm going to go to Japan. You just pick from this list. You click Japan. You wait a hot second, connecting to Japan, open Chrome back up, go back to Netflix. Here's The Sinner, and look at that! Season 3, Episode 1, Part 1.